Welcome back to another episode, and before we kick off with today's tutorial on how to make images pop, I have a very exciting announcement to make, so stick around. So a couple of tips when you want your image to pop. Firstly, I like to use a shallow depth of field, so that means your subjects in the front is in focus and the background is not in focus, which ideally you want a blurred background, so all the emphasis and detail stays on the subject. And by doing that, you set your aperture as low as possible. Obviously leave a notch or two up so you still get depth of field, as an example with a bird, for example, with a long beak, that you'll have a focus from the front of the beak to the eyes and to the back of the head, whilst the background will be nice and blurry. Another tip is to always try and have a lot of distance behind your subject matter, but so between your subject and the distance behind, to make sure, or try and get that background out of focus. So that's also another tip I can share with you. And then obviously the tips I'm going to be sharing with you in Lightroom Classic that aid us to achieve even a better result. Getting back to the exciting news, I can share with you that I've finally released my website. So please check the description below and click on the link to have a look at my website. Other exciting news I'd like to share with you is that today marks, from today, 3 months time, I'll be leaving New Zealand to travel to the Kalahari Desert to do some photography that I've been dreaming to do for a long time, and as well as going up to the Chobe River in Botswana, and then on to Namibia, and also some time in South Africa. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share my experiences with you, the images I'm going to capture, and it'll be shared with you on this channel. So stick around, and there's a lot of exciting things coming up. And yeah, we'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers. All right, so here we have a photograph of Bennett as an example in today's tutorial. So you start by going to File and then Import Photos and Videos, and from there you'll bring in this image, which we are going to edit, and you hit the development mode here. So the first thing we're going to do is introduce a mask, and we want AI to detect the subject. So we're going to hit mask here, the round circle, and hit subject. And AI has detected it as highlighted here in red, and it's done a pretty good job. And then the first thing we're going to do with the mask, now just remember the mask, only making edits to the selected area, being the gannet. And the first thing I like to do is increase the saturation. Push that up. Okay, now that we've pushed up the saturation, the next thing you can see on the wings here, the whites, we don't have much detail. It's a bit blown out. So we're going to reduce the highlights, bring it right down, and a bit of the whites as well, just to give a bit more detail on the whites on the feathers there. As you can see, it looks a lot better. Right, the overall temperature looks a bit on the bluish cool side, so we want to warm things up a bit. And there we're just going to push up the temperature ever so slightly, and that looks a lot better as well. The next thing we're going to do is actually select the background. Right, next up we want to select the background. So doing that, we're going to create a new mask, and we select background. My AI's detected the background, as you can see in the red, which is pretty good. And what we want to do with the background is we want to darken the background to make our subject even out more. So what I like to do there is reduce the background, the exposure, and you can see how nicely the subject has now stands out and pops out a lot better. One thing I'd still like to add to the background is I'm still want to darken it a touch more. So in under the mask 2, we're going to go to the blacks here and just increase the blacks ever so slightly as well. As you can see, the subject just looks so much more better popping, and I'm pretty happy with that. All right, final adjustments. We go into the editing mode here. So we're going to be making changes to the entire image. And I'd just like to bring out those nice oranges and yellows. We go to the mixer tab and go to saturation and bump up those oranges and the yellows. Same, we can go to the luminance, and there we can just bump up the oranges. And in this case, we want to darken the yellows a bit, just to emphasize those yellows on the gannet. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this basic tutorial on how to make your images pop.